If you struggle with shyness or social anxiety, check out our free No BS training course with actual useful advice you can do from home. None of that just get out there nonsense. The link is in the description below. For now, let's get to today's question.
Maintain eye contact. This has changed my life in the way I interact with people. When people talk to you, maintain eye contact, even if it might feel awkward. It shows strength of character and even warmth. When it's your turn to talk, do the same, although I think it's okay in this situation to glance away at times. Learn about everything. Read The New Yorker. Watch documentaries. Read good books. Conversations used to be a terrifying thing for me, because I wouldn't know what to talk about. But the more you know, the more you can relate with people and have something to share. Make yourself uncomfortable. To achieve anything worthwhile requires sacrifice. In this case, personal comfort. I used to avoid going to parties and social events because I'd feel so stressed at the thought of talking to people. I still feel that way, but not as intensely, after forcing myself to accept most invitations I'd receive. Interacting with people really is a muscle you have to flex, and the more you practice it, the more confident you feel doing it. Surround yourself with people who believe in you. In this case, I had my church, who believed in the best I could be and the inherent value I had as a person. Having a support system who you can share your struggles with makes the entire journey easier. When I was little, I used to be known as the shy one. This upset me greatly because I felt overlooked and dismissed. Not being able to break that stigma frustrated me beyond belief. I was always confident, just naturally shy, but my teachers liked to tell me otherwise. It broke my spirit. I went to a tiny private school from ages 2 to 13, which is when I graduated from middle school. I started at a public high school that fall. I was still shy, but I was determined to break out of it. I took steps by doing things I thought were scary, messaging classmates on FB about homework, trying out for acting troupe, didn't make it, but I felt proud for having tried, and joining clubs filled with kids I didn't know. Every tiny bit of progress was still progress. Initiating conversation with a classmate, for example, was small, but it was still something. When I was 15, I did something crazy and tried out for the varsity cheer team and I made it. I was still shy, but I really tried my best to interact with the other girls. It was slow but steady, and by senior year, I was cheer captain. By then, I was also class secretary, art club president, yearbook editor, and part of the class planning committee. Once I took initial steps to come out of my shell, the rest followed. It was by no means an easy or quick process, so don't be discouraged if it seems impossible. I'm very outgoing now, finally, but I do consider myself to be an introvert at heart. There's nothing wrong with that. In short, I got over my shyness by just making myself do things I was intimidated by. Don't discredit any step you take, and allow yourself to be proud. If you want to try something but feel too scared to actually do it, please don't beat yourself up over it. It's just a temporary setback, that's all. It won't define you if you don't allow it to. The best feeling is realized you've overcome the obstacles that used to hold you back. If my former elementary school teachers saw me now, cheerleading in an arena filled with 7,000 fans, they wouldn't believe it was me. I relish that. From the great number of advices to give, I am currently working to put a method for that online. More below. What has helped me the most by far was to identify my limiting beliefs. The first time I heard about the concept I felt a bit insulted. It basically means to question yourself and your own perception of the world. What you feel in a certain situation does not necessarily reflect the truth. Here's an example. A guy is introduced to a pretty girl on a party. He tries get in contact with her, but she doesn't really answer. Now there are 3 ways the guy can interpret that situation. 1. He thinks I am not good enough for her anyway and totally understand why she wouldn't talk to me too. Well, she seems to be a bit shy. Obviously, if you're that pretty it can be difficult to get into just a normal conversation with a guy. I'll try to help her and just be my awesome self. 3. What an exceptional example of arrogant people there are here. Nobody is talking to me. I'm leaving this place. Every single outcome of the situation is understandable and logical. Why? Because we humans simply don't have enough data to exactly know all the time what is going on in the people around us. We just assume that they may be thinking something specific. Challenging my beliefs has helped me to rethink about my views in almost every situation. It does take a bit of courage to confront your fears and truly speak what is on your mind, But when you do, the rewards are astonishing. So, a while ago some friends and me started building a web version and an app of a tool that can help you to overcome your limiting beliefs and build your confidence. If you take the time to answer the questions properly and start using the app, you can actually become a bit more confident. However, this is just one method. If you want to try it out, you can do that here. Speakit.com. Yeah, it's completely for free. Smile. Enjoy. I'm going to go on a little sidetrack for a bit, so bear with me. Last year, I got my first tattoo. What do you care what other people think? In my own handwriting, on my inner left wrist. The quote is from Arline Feynman, Richard Feynman's first wife. I'd highly recommend the book by the same name, if you want to know more about the story. In short, Arline sent Richard a box of pencils with a rather mushy message embossed on them. Richard darling, I love you. Putsie. Putsie being his pet name for her. He thought it was sweet, but he knew his habit of leaving pencils everywhere and was mortified at the thought of his colleagues seeing the machino pencils. So, not wanting to waste a gift, he carefully sliced the writing off of all of them before using them. Not long after, Arline sent him a letter that opened with Richard P. Feynman, what do you care what other people think? I got the tattoo almost exactly a year ago, while a college friend of mine lay unconscious in the hospital after a stroke. He was 35, I was 30, and I was suddenly confronted with how much time and energy I had wasted trying to make other people happy. I was living in mortal terror of my boss's disapprobation, literally physically sick with dread that I was not doing well enough, being smart enough, getting enough done. I was avoiding friends, neglecting relationships, passing on parties, and generally making myself miserable trying to be the perfect graduate student. And despite making myself miserable, I was still sucking at it. The very real possibility of sudden death snapped things into focus. I'm not as shy as you are, but at least for me, my shyness is born out of a deep doubt of my own self-worth. And the conviction that if other people don't judge me worthy, then I must obviously not be worthy. This makes interactions with other people into some kind of tribunal, with me on the judgment seat, and almost always being found wanting. No matter what I do, not everyone will like me. No matter how hard I try, I'm never perfect. When I notice that I'm framing most social interactions as some kind of high-stakes adversarial interaction, well, it's no wonder I get anxious. There is a lovely inspirational quote from Eleanor Roosevelt that goes, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. That is, people can always judge you to be inferior, but you are under no obligation to believe them. An acquaintance of mine had always read that quote as people will only judge you to be inferior if you do something inferior, i.e., you have to be perfect or people will judge you and they will be correct. Ouch. So, what do you do if this is also the root of your shyness, or a major part of it? I can't recommend the tattoo route. It's very personal and I'm surprised at how many people misinterpret it. It's not a defiant statement of I don't need you. It's a reminder to myself to do things because they are right/necessary/important, not because I want people to like me. Instead, I can offer a few pieces of advice that have been given to me. 1. When you notice yourself feeling anxious, take a few moments to sit with the feeling and notice the thoughts running through your head. Don't try to stop them, and try to withhold judging them as good/bad/right/wrong. Just notice. 2. When you're in a relatively safe social situation and suddenly feel like you've screwed up, e.g., offended somebody, stop and notice your thoughts. Then, address your concerns with the person you're talking to, e.g., apologize for offending them or ask if what you said was offensive. In all likelihood, you're projecting something that isn't there or are making something small into a catastrophe. This may help you get some perspective. 3. Get a handle on what's important to you in your life. I'm passionate about teaching, invested in being a kind and giving person, and trying to be compassionate. Therefore, if people think I dress funny or dance weirdly or aren't very smart, that's not important. Those things aren't things that are important to me. So I'm not going to worry about them unless they're so severe that they're affecting my employment chances or something similar. And since I'm not a blithering idiot or frequently smelly, I doubt they will. But if somebody thinks I'm mean or a poor teacher, it is worth talking to them to figure out if I need to address the issue or not, and often it isn't something I need to address. 4. Remember that no matter how amazing and wonderful and funny and smart and kind and attractive you are, not everybody will like you. It is not your job to make everyone like you. Your only job is to be the best you that you can be. Best of luck.